Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here. We're joined by author and economic analyst here at John Sneisen, and we are joined once again, of course, by popular demand, Mr. David Morgan. I wanted to talk with you about several things, including Lode, but before I get to that, I wanted to talk a bit about what we've seen in the silver and gold market in the past, I guess, couple weeks. We saw a major sell-off, and it's being blamed on Trump's tariffs and that kind of stuff. I feel like we've seen this before. It's kind of market manipulation, kind of nonsense. What do you think about what had just recently happened?
Well, it's definitely manipulation. There's no question that you're going to sell that much paper, gold and silver, and right to have the markets down substantially. And it was at a point where both gold and silver are making a breakout again. I called it a breakout or fake out. I've got the Morgan rule, which I use to basically keep from getting hit hard on those type of situations. So once we have a level that is moving up and through, it has to be on big volume and it has to have some follow through. If it doesn't have any follow through, which is what happened, you can expect that, as Ed Steer refers to them as the boys, will come in and basically just annihilate the market. It was very, very disruptive, and it's disheartening because it happens over and over again.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen, going back to, I believe it was 1933 when the gold that was confiscated was used in order to fund the Exchange Stabilization Fund and later on the IMF. And, there's just been this practice of complete manipulation of the markets, people trying to turn wealth insurance into quick investment. And, we saw last year Deutsche Bank got caught in a court of law manipulating and gaming the price of gold and silver, as did many other banks alongside it. So how do you think this is going to turn out long term when we have these banks attempting to manipulate the price? I find any good market gets manipulated by banks and governments. What do you think?
Well, all manipulations come to an end, and the reason they're so successful is they take a derivative and add a derivative and add a derivative. I mean, really, you've got like a futures market, which is a derivative market. Then you have options on futures. Then you have what is called the over-the-counter market, which all the stuff is the black world. In other words, none of it is transparent. So you've got a way to take an element like gold and hypothecate it, which means you get to take a loan on it or use it as a monetary instrument. Then you take that monetary instrument and get to use that as a monetary instrument, and it just keeps going on and on and on. So when people buy gold in the, let's say, professional community, for the most part, they're buying a derivative. There's lots of reasons for that, and I'll stay neutral on that aspect. The point being is that if it's a supply and demand, then what supply are we looking at? Are we looking at the gold supply, or are we looking at the gold derivative supply? Well, we're looking at the gold derivative supply. If you look at what happens in the normal trading on an annual basis of the silver market, you'll find like what happened on this blowdown, 1 billion ounces of silver traded on paper. That in one day. That's 200 million ounces more silver than is mined annually on the planet. How does that reconcile anything close to reality as far as what the true picture of the silver market is? It does not. Yet it is the market that everybody believes sets it does set the price. But everybody believes, well, not everyone, but a lot of people don't understand that the supply isn't the supply of silver. The supply is the amount of derivatives that are created basically out of nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't want you to put a date on it because obviously that would be ridiculous, but we are seeing something really start to happen at tremors in the banking system. Deutsche Bank laying off 10,000 employees. They have been downgraded to BBB rating from A-. Obviously, there's something happening in the banking system. We're seeing the same with Wells Fargo. You seem to want to say something.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted to ask you a question. Like, of course, all the banks in Europe, I've been talking about before with Deutsche Bank and Societe Generale, has been used to bail out the PIGS countries, the southern countries. So we're going to see some huge issues there. But I want to get back to a question that I was just thinking about. And of course, the gold-silver ratio, when you've looked at it historically, it seems to kind of tell us that when it hits a certain point, between usually 75 or 85, then like something usually happens in the economy at that time. And then usually silver then, catches up. So what do you think about the silver-gold ratio? Do you think it's trying to tell us something right now?
Yeah, I think that's a great insight, John. Usually when you're up at the 80 level, or maybe slightly higher, that's usually the peak. That's in recent times. And it usually says that we're ready to start the cycle again, which means you're going to see silver accelerate relative to gold, and there's precious metals will start to become more popular. And when the beginning of something takes place, it's extremely difficult to see it. You can only see it in hindsight. But if you allow me, I want to go a little further into the gold-silver ratio, because it's one of those topics that a lot of people are very passionate about one way or the other. It doesn't mean anything, and it does mean something. Well, let's just talk about it in general terms. If you go into the 12th century, through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, the ratio was 12 to 1, which is what I call the natural ratio. The natural ratio is what's naturally in the ground, and the ratio was 12 ounces of silver approximately for every ounce of gold in the ground. As was mined out, that's what they got. Not in each individual mine, but on an aggregate basis, on a whole earth basis. Now, why did it stay 12 to 1? Because it was a bimetallic standard globally. So they both served the same function. So when gold served as money and silver served as money and they were functionally the same, the ratio was the natural ratio. Today, the natural ratio is 9 to 1. Why is that? Because silver is easier to get to than gold. It's nearer the surface in most cases. So that's that. Now, if you go further into monetary history, it was established by Sir Isaac Newton when the Bank of England was off the gold standard, having all kinds of monetary problems, put them back on the gold standard. And then they said, well, what's the correct ratio, Mr. Newton's? And he said, well, I looked out the window and said it's about 15.5 to 1, because that's what the street value was at that time. It should not be set. The market should set what the ratio is. But it does have meaning. The reason that it's at these astronomical levels is because the function of both gold and silver particularly, having a monetary asset value, is almost non-existent, especially for silver. On the gold side, it's actually more establishment than silver, because there's banks that hold it, there's nation states like China and Russia that understand the value of gold, and that puts more of a pressure to buy it. But the ratio is very much out of whack, and it's going to be the monetary demand that breaks the back of the cartel. It's not going to be the industrial usage. But that will add to the panic, because when the panic starts from a monetary aspect, then the users like Mitsubishi and Apple Computer and any conglomerate that needs silver absolutely can't substitute anything for it. They're going to be panicked, because they're going to see, wait a minute, I can't get silver any old day I want on the system as it exists. I'm going to have to buy it and then hoard it, or else I'm out of business.
Well, absolutely. And getting into Lode, I actually want to invite Steve over because I think it'd be good to have a bit of a team talking about this here, because I'm really excited about these ideas. We're coming up with a lot of incredible ideas in the blockchain space and the cryptocurrency space, and we're seeing a lot of great innovations. It's a market kind of in its infancy, maybe not so much anymore, but it's growing at a faster rate than it ever has before. And at the same time, we also have gold and silver, wealth insurance throughout history, something that we should all be diversifying with, in my opinion. So can you guys go into Lode? I'll start with you and then I'll go to Steve. Can you talk about how important Lode is, what the concept is?
Yeah, well, I think the concept is that silver is real money, and there's a huge surge in the understanding of an alternative currency, and the cryptos are the first to bring that to the fore. And I think it's resonating very, very much with the millennials particularly. So people see the value of alternatives to a government-created or actually a non-government entity basically creating the world. Money is power. If you create the money, you create the power, and you can basically control a lot of things, including the political structure. So Lode comes along, and it's basically fulfilling a dream of, I'd say, myself, and I hate to speak for, I don't mind speaking for him, but I want to get it correct, Hugo Salinas Price, where we want to reinstitute silver into the monetary system for the people. It's the people's money. Government money is kind of gold in a way, if you go to basics. But the point being that you can have silver on a blockchain and have it physically available. And what's so beautiful about Lode is not only does it bring the first cryptographic silver money to the people, it's the people that control it. And the early adopters actually are rewarded in silver. So every time we cycle through the system, you're actually being rewarded with more silver, which in theory takes more silver out of the market and into the hands of the people that want to spend it. So I think it's a really great thing. And he could,
I would love for you to explain a bit more of the mechanics and how you got into this project.
Well, for many years I ran a barter exchange in Vancouver, you guys. So private currency and privately issued money has always been an industry that I've been involved in, and a barter exchange acts as a record keeper for a B2B network. Creates credit lines from time to time for the members who need more trade dollars, and then they can make up their deficits, if you will, by accepting new business from the other members. So the original idea for the Lode project originated actually with a barter exchange idea where silver was being used as the anchor called the sovereign exchange about 4 or 5 years ago. So it was morphed from my fascination, my appreciation of silver as money, and my history on the street, especially in Vancouver, with merchants and the B2B commercial barter platforms that I've been running and eventually sold in 2012. But the Lode project today is using a blockchain is kind of like the barter exchange, but on steroids. The blockchain makes everything on the physical side, especially verifiable, certifiable, proven. We can effectively encrypt the signatures of the parties who verify, weigh, assay, protect, and insure the vaulted material. The vault master on island in Cayman, the accounting company that looks at their numbers, and then a big box auditing firm behind them. So let's encrypt those signatures and then trust that these people and these firms know their business and can provide this level of service to the Lode community. And that's what we're calling them, service providers to the Lode community. We also have an idea about putting a camera inside the vault and having sort of a live streaming picture of all the vaulted material, which right now is close to 500,000 ounces, or just shy of 15 million grams. And that's come from really friends of Dave and friends of myself. I've been in the bullion business in Kelowna for many years. It's about 850 contributors at this point. We're really just scratching the surface.
And Kelowna is a beautiful place, by the way, a beautiful city. But so I wanted to ask you, one of the great things about this market is a competition, and the competition makes everyone better. They compete against each other, they innovate, they try to be better than the other guy. I wanted to ask you, what sets you apart from your competition?
Well, I think one is that as you cycle through, you actually add silver to the stack. I think that's number one. Number two is I think that the thoughtfulness of the whole project has been probably ironed out further than anything else I've looked at. Now, I'll be frank, I haven't looked at them all. But to be able to create something that is transparent to everyday people, which means eventually you'll get like a debit card that you'll be able to use at any place, restaurant, place of business, backed by silver. The fact that you can take an AGX coin and turn it into silver at your discretion. I think it's thought through the monetary system as it exists now and can blend with that and still use silver in the monetary system, not necessarily known to the second party, as I just explained, and bring the fact that silver is important, especially to the fact that it's the money of the people. I mean, if you look at monetary history, silver is money, more so than gold. And that's not me saying it. It's Milton Friedman at the 1993 New Orleans conference. If you really study monetary history, silver is the money. And it's true. So to bring it back to the people, because this is something that's affordable to the common person, the blue collar, the white collar, whatever, the people that actually make things run, that really provide the productive capacity to get food on our plate, gas in our cars, and everything that we enjoy, it's because of the basic people that never get any credit. And now if we give them the ability to basically take the monetary problem back into their own hands, literally, and have the control, because again, money is power, and the power mongers, these megalomaniacs, want to control everything we think, do, and say, down to the fact that they're tracing everything that we do through the NSA and this system that exists with spy satellites. I'm going off track, but I'm making a point. Now, if you can actually have some anonymity and be able to transact and keep your freedom, because really free money or free market money is an adjunct to freedom itself.
Absolutely, and a great part of independence from any centralized authority as well, which is really important, especially in this day and age where we have these ways to attempt at least to escape this system that, you know, basically shoves us into debt servitude to this massive centralized entity. It's a brilliant thing. Just finishing it off, would you guys tell us where people can go to get involved in Lode and, you know, where they can find more information? I'll pass it over to.
Yeah, well, there's two places. I'll go first. So there's HTTPS : and it's ag.lode.1. So it's ag, the symbol for silver, .lode.1. Or you can just go to lode. Lode.1. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've set up affiliate opportunities for people like Dave. Dave's our leading affiliate right now at ag.lode.1 is the place to learn more and potentially register. And then after you've registered, you can make a choice to contribute silver either through a purchase or a delivery of private material from an existing stack. But what Dave said earlier is really important. Not everyone initially understands the stacking machine that Lode could be. The idea is we sell at retail margins AGX coins, which represent grams of vaulted material and can be converted back into bullion. We do that at retail margins. We take the revenues, we stack more material at wholesale margins. More material enables more coins sold enables more material, and round we go until potentially we've got the world's most efficient silver miner on Earth without ever getting our hands dirty. So the idea of that is a big one, and it's resonating. And more details, obviously, at ag.lode.1. And thanks to you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of did the exact opposite of dragging someone off stage with a cane. I dragged him on stage with a cane. But I appreciate you guys talking with us, and it's great to see these market innovations. It's almost overwhelming how many great new innovations are coming up in this industry as of the last 2 years, even last year. It's just been incredible. So thanks for talking with us.
Pleasure. Always.
Welcome,
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Like what you see here, WAM, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so overwhelmingly demonetized and censored by YouTube as the ADL comes in and flags all of our content as hate speech. Also, check our Bitcoin address in the description as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also find us at steemit.com at Josh Sigurdson, the future of social media, where you get paid in the upvote of your post in Steem, the cryptocurrency. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.